everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Erin, and a happy Memorial Day to you. I'm actually filming this Memorial Day morning, and I'm going to upload it this afternoon, but I'm going to go ahead and get ready for my day. I do have to leave the house for a couple things, so I figured I'd put on a face of makeup. Now, today's a little bit different because we actually do have Tropical Depression Alberto rolling through right now, so it is going to be raining all day. Yay for that. I don't know if I'm going to do a chatty get ready with me. I guess I have a few things that I can chat with you guys about, but I'm going to go ahead and start with my eyes. Part of this look today is I'm going to be using the Tropics palette that I got off the Shop Hush app to do an eye look. So if you want to see me get ready with the Tropics palette and do a little bit of a chatty get ready with me, then keep on watching. So I am going to do my eyes first, and I'm just going to set my eyes down with this NYX eyeshadow primer. This is just the regular tan one, and I have a Luxie brush that I'm just going to set this down with. And I guess I don't know what's been going on with you guys. What's been going on with me is a lot of work. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, I work as a social worker for hospice, and it is the end of the month, so we are at crunch time to get all of my visits in, get all my documentation in. So I am just like hustling, and so I think even though I'm off work today, I might end up going into my local Starbucks and just sitting there for a couple hours and going ahead and getting the rest of my work done, just so I don't get in trouble and I don't get fired for not getting my documentation in. So what do some of you guys do for a living? I'd really be interested to know what you guys do for work, or what are you in school for, just to kind of start that dialogue. But I do have my primer on, and I'm going to take my big fluffy brush and set down this primer. Now with this palette, the only cream shade in here is quite, it's almost like a satin. Yeah, it has a little bit of shine to it. So I am going to go in with my Wet n Wild Single in Brulee and set down my lids. Now I did go ahead and take that eyeshadow primer up onto the edges of my nose over here. I'm trying different eyeshadow bases to see what can help best to make my foundation and makeup stick to the side of my nose with my sunglasses, because here in Florida I wear my sunglasses all the time, and it takes off the makeup on the side of my nose, which looks really strange by the end of the day. But I think I'm just going to start with this like kind of mauve shade called Canopy and just put that into the crease. If you guys hear a dog panting in the background, we still have our 13-year-old girl with us. She's gotten a little bit better as far as the seizures go, but she still has cancer somewhere, and she's still kind of losing a lot of weight and having a little bit of trouble getting around, but we've kind of worked out her meds to where she's not as like unsteady, so she can actually go out and use the bathroom herself now and get around the house a lot better. But she had me up all night last night. I don't know if it was because of the rain or because she just look at her go, or if her potty schedule was off, but I was up at like 1 and like 3:30 and then like 7 with the dogs. So I have that shade kind of laid down in my crease. It's kind of a gray purpley shade. The shades in this palette are interesting. That's it right there. So it does have that shift of purple to it. I think a lot of these are, you know, those pinky shades. I think I want to go in with this really like hot pink shade called Flora, and I'm just going to use the same brush and fluff that into my crease. Nice pigmentation on these, just like all of the other FaceCandy palettes. So beyond my doggy being a little bit better, what else has been going on? Oh, I started intermittent fasting with my husband. He's been doing it since January. So we've been eating keto for about a year now. And I do it off and on because I love sweets. I love cookies. I love cake. I cannot help myself. And if I had more time to do more keto baking, then I might actually like stay away from actual commercial cookies and stuff like that. But also, since I do work out of my car and I work on the road, it's hard for me to pack a complete lunch, where sometimes I just like want to run into a convenience store and get some s'mores Pop-Tarts. But that laid down some really pretty shade, and I'm gonna clean up the edges here, so I'm not really worried about getting a nice defined edge on the outside. Take a little bit smaller of a brush, and I think I'm gonna go in with the shade over here, Fauna. Again, they're a little bit dusty, but they are super pigmented, and we're gonna concentrate this on the outer corner. So I started the intermittent fasting, which basically means that we only eat from noon to 8 p.m. So like right now, what time is it? It is 9:26, so I have to wait until noon to eat. And I'm used to eating breakfast by like 7:30 in the morning, and I usually would eat a pretty big breakfast. So this has been a really big change for me, and I started it a week ago, and actually I have not lost any weight yet. So on keto with the intermittent fasting, of course, the whole reason behind it would be to lose weight. And with keto, I lost like 20 something pounds, and then I got stressed out. I started eating regular food again, and so I gained 10 of those pounds back. So I'm trying to take back off the 10 pounds that I put back on, but it's been difficult. And then doing the intermittent fasting this whole week and not losing any weight, it's kind of discouraging. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick with it for probably about a month and see how it goes, because my husband, like I said, has done so phenomenally on it. But I know that women and men lose weight and hold weight in different places, so I don't know if I need to hold my breath for that or not. But these do kick up quite a bit of powder, but let me go ahead and swatch that Fauna shade. It's just a really nice kind of rust shade. Now from here, I can go two different ways with our sparkle, and it's these two over here. I think what I might do is lay down the pink sparkle on the outside of the eye, and then put the Haven shade on the inside. Now my only question, to make these pop, do I want to do concealer on my eyes, which I don't really do that very often, but I think today I want to try. So let me pick up a concealer and see what I can do with it. I'm just gonna use the Makeup Revolution concealer. I've really been enjoying this one right now. I use it in C3, so I just put a little bit on the back of my hand, and let's go ahead and try to cut this crease. All right, I'm going to start working with that, but let me go ahead and do concealer on the other eye. I'm not the biggest fan of that, so I think I'm just going to put the Heat Wave shade over my entire lid. So I think the eyes are done for right now. I just went back in with my Wet n Wild Single in Brulee and just took my fluffy brush and blended out those edges so that I don't have any harsh lines between those pink shades and then my brow bone. I'm going to go in with a makeup wipe and clean up the outer edges, and then we'll move on to the face. I'm going to use my Mineral Veil Primer today. So I'm just going to stick with the fasting and see if I can get something out of it. I'm gonna try it for a whole month, see if I start losing weight or not, but maybe right now my body just thinks, oh my god, you're starving yourself in the morning, let's hold on to all your resources. So maybe after my body realizes what I'm doing, it'll help me start dropping a little bit more of this weight with the fasting. I'm using a new combo of foundations right now. It is the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation and the Maybelline Superstay Foundation. I don't like this foundation by itself, but with the extra coverage and the longevity of this one, it really makes it wonderful. So what else has been going on? Oh, did anybody else go out and see the Han Solo movie? My husband is a die-hard original trilogy, like episodes 4 through 6 of Star Wars, and so even though like he waited in line and like camped out to see episode 1, and then they all realized that they weren't all that good, but he is a die-hard Star Wars fan, and he actually was thinking about not going to see Solo at all. And I was gonna be like, you know, if we don't see it in the theaters, then we'll probably end up seeing it when it comes out on DVD. But he said, you know, do you want to just go see it? So we went and saw it Friday evening, and it wasn't that good, but it wasn't that bad. So I'm a fan of the new Star Wars, and I mean, I like the original ones better than I like episodes 1 through 3, but I am a fan of the new Star Wars, the new reboot, since Disney has acquired Star Wars. And you know, that hurts my husband's heart because he is such a die-hard original fan, and he just doesn't like the direction that Disney is taking the franchise right now. But I really enjoy Daisy Ridley. I really enjoy Adam Driver. I enjoy the characters that they are kind of setting up. The storyline, there's a lot to be missed. There's a lot they had to go back and explain whenever they did the books for the movies. But as far as what they have going right now and what is to be expected of episode 9, I'm kind of excited about what they're going to be ending up doing. But so the Solo movie, of course, is Han Solo like 10 years before episode 4. So I don't know. I don't think the actor looked anything like Harrison Ford, and since we know what Harrison Ford looks like whenever he's younger, because he's been doing movies forever, I was just like, meh, didn't sound like him. I heard that they actually had to have Harrison Ford come in halfway through the filming and teach the actor how to act like Han Solo, which is kind of disheartening because you would think that they would already know how to do that. I am going to go ahead and just take the Makeup Revolution and conceal. But the movie was entertaining. You kind of started to see things come out. Like, I wasn't surprised by anything. I think the only thing that I was surprised by is, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, is that Han Solo had actually like worked for the not the First Order, but the Empire. So to get out of like his hard life or whatever, he ended up joining the Empire to become a pilot. And so I know that he joined the Empire and his son in the new movies joined the First Order for completely different reasons. But still, like, it's kind of the pot calling the kettle black, that Han Solo felt that joining the Empire was an ends to a means, but then he's going to basically like cast away his son for doing the same thing because his son thought that that was the only place he had to go. So it's a little bit more background into that and a little bit hypocritical. But I thought that the dynamic between Han and Chewie, I think Chewie was the best part of the Han Solo movie. But I don't know. If you haven't seen it and you're a Star Wars fan, you might be disappointed. But if you just want to go see something for entertainment value, again, I don't think it's something that you need to rush out and see right now. So just look at that coverage on those two. It is just beautiful. It still gives you that kind of like luminosity of the Physicians Formula, but it gives you the nice coverage. And so I just dot this on everywhere and then use a pump of this off my hand and go in together with them. So, because you can't really mix these two beforehand on like on your hand or on a tray or anything. You just kind of have to mix them while they're on your face. So I love the coverage that those end up giving. So I'm going to go ahead and set down with powder and we will move on. The Cover FX powder has been in my project pan and I've been trying extremely hard to use it a lot. But again, it's not my favorite powder, especially to use it the way that I do. So, baby girl. So I'm gonna go ahead and I have some powder on my lid. I'm gonna set my face down. Oh my goodness, guys. The other day I used that combo of the Maybelline and the Physicians Formula foundations, and then I forgot to put on concealer, and it actually worked all day long. So I think that that Maybelline foundation is definitely one that you could go without concealer because the coverage is that good. So I was super surprised because I ended up powdering my face and I was like, wait, did I put on concealer? Oh my God, what is my face gonna end up looking like? But it actually turned out really, really nice. So if you don't need that extra layer, don't feel like you need to put on concealer just because it's a step in a makeup routine. Because if you don't need it, you don't need it. And that day, I mean, I have my dark circles, but I didn't have any blemishes to really cover that day. So if you don't need concealer, don't use it. I'm gonna go ahead and do my lower lash line real quick with the same colors that we used from the Tropics palette. I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows with the NYX brow pencil, and then I'll be right back because I don't think I can talk and do my brows at the same time. All right, we need to put some life back in this face. I think I'm gonna use my Laguna bronzer from NARS and a big old fluffy brush and put some color back into my cheeks. But I guess the other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on today, something that's been bothering me and making me kind of like think about myself, and not in a bad way, but it's comparing your successes to other people's successes. And I'm not just talking about on YouTube, because I have a very tiny channel of wonderful, wonderful people that stop in to watch my videos. But I think just in everyday successes that we have. And so I'm of the age now, I'm 33. So there's people out there my age or younger that, let's say, I mean, I can even think of like music or movie stars or authors and stuff like that. So like even whenever I was younger, I think like Britney Spears had her first hit at 17. And so looking at yourself as like a 15-year-old person when somebody who's a couple years older than you has like a not a blockbuster, but a Billboard hit, you know, you're like, okay, well, what the hell am I doing with my life? And so now that I'm 33, a lot of the people, a lot of the newer actors that are coming out in movies are in their late 20s, early 30s, depending on what kind of role they're playing. And I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness, look at their success. And am I thinking like money-wise? Am I thinking popularity? Am I thinking like fame? I don't know where my mind kind of goes with this, and comparing their successes to my successes. So just because somebody is an actor doesn't mean that they could do what I do. And I have to look at my little tiny successes that I have every day. So coming from a broken home, a home of divorce, a home of abuse, barely finishing high school, to actually have a master's degree and have a license as the highest level clinician in my field in my state, like that's a pretty big freaking deal. And sometimes I have to stop myself and stop comparing myself to other people and really own and enjoy my own successes. Because I'm doing a really pinky look, I think I'm gonna go in with a pinky blush, and this is a blush from Milani, and this is their Tea Rose blush. These are a little bit harder and a little bit powdery. I mean, the swatch is not beautiful on these, but let me see if I can build up a little bit of this nice color on my cheeks. So even if your little successes were you know, waking up and getting out of the house that day, or if your little successes were completing a project, or like I like to look at that splotchy blush. Ooh, we're gonna have to do some work to blend that out. So like I like to write fiction for fun. And so I have this story that I have going that will probably never see the light of day, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. So if I complete a chapter on my story, that's a really, really good success for me for that day. I don't know if I'm liking that blush. So a lot of times if you think your blush is a little bit too intense, you can go back over with your sponge and kind of just lighten it up a little bit, but we'll see what we can do. So it really makes you take an inventory of your life and say, what things am I good at? What things am I proud of? And so I really have had to force myself to do that, because while my channel may not be growing as much as I would like, at least I'm not giving up, and that's a success. So I really have to stop comparing myself to other people, and that's been very, very hard for me, because what do you gauge your own success on? Because if I go out and I work, that's what my job is. But if I have a really, really good week, I have to take that as a success. And it's difficult because as a social worker, you're supposed to be able to know these things and implement them in your own life. But sometimes you just need a reality check, and you got to figure out what you are doing with your life. So let me go ahead and I'm going to do some setting spray. I'm going to put on some mascara, and we'll come back for highlighter and lips. So before I put on my mascara, I did pop on a little bit of a wing with my brown Clinique liner, and I used my e.l.f. makeup remover pen to go ahead and clean up some of those edges. Now, I have not been able to find this in stores at all. Do they still sell this? I looked at Target, I looked at Walmart to try to find this. They do sell it on the Shop Hush app, and they also sell it on e.l.f.'s website, but I cannot find these in stores at all anymore. If you know where these are, let me know so I can pick some up, because I absolutely love this thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop on some of the Buxom mascara that I got in my Sephora Playbox, because I've been loving this stuff, and I'll be right back. Man, mascara can just change a look right around. So let me go ahead and see what kind of highlight I want to use for today. I think I'm gonna go with my Fenty in, what is this, Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, and use my Milani highlighting brush. That was one thing I did the other day too. I went out of the house without any highlighter on. And it's just, we just get so used to being in like certain steps of our makeup that I think sometimes if we forget one, we're just like, oh my God, what's my day gonna be like? But I think it all turned out for the best with that look that day. I'm using the more subtle side of it, the lightning dust side, to do my cheeks, and I'll probably pop a little bit of the more intense shade right in there, but we'll just get a little bit of the more subtle shade down, and then we'll go into Fire Crystal. I also want to take some of this highlighter and highlight my brow bone and my inner corner. So for lips today, I think I'm just going to line my lips with this Wet n Wild liner and then go in with an Anastasia gloss in Vintage. Alright guys, so this is my finished kind of pinky look for the day. I do really enjoy this Tropics palette. Of course, you're going to end up getting that like warm pinky like look out of it, which I love those type of looks. The mattes are a little bit powdery, but I can work with that because the pigmentation is just absolutely wonderful on these. So like, look at all the powder that kicked up. But I mean, the pigmentation is beautiful. They blend out really, really nicely. Let me see if I can swatch that like pinky shimmery shade real quick. So we have Flora, Heat Wave, and Haven here. And Haven and Heat Wave are your two shimmery shades, but I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And I think this palette was $10, and so I really just don't think that you can go wrong with this. Now, the packaging is a little bit bulky, which is not my favorite because the shadows are not that deep in that pan. They could have made this a lot thinner, but I've been really, really enjoying this palette, getting beautiful looks from it. Everything blends out beautifully. So now I am going to go about my day. I get to eat at noon. I am going to be making keto blueberry pancakes for breakfast. I'm so excited. But thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for chatting with me. Leave me some of your thoughts down below of some of the things that I talked about. What do you think about the new Solo movie? What are you thinking about? Do you compare yourself to other people and their successes? Do you kind of have to like talk yourself down from that? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this style of video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.